Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, to the 2021 District Conference for District 3. I am the District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Peter Salazar. Before we get to my session, I just want to thank you for coming, whether you are in person or online. I hope you are meeting new people, learning a lot, and most of all, having fun and celebrating a successful year. The 2020-2021 year did throw us a curveball with the COVID pandemic. But as usual, Toastmasters, we rose above it and we are here celebrating. So thank you for joining us. Now, let's get to the session. Welcome to the session. Today's session is called From Tormented to MenTored. And it's just a play on words. I'm really not going to talk about anyone being tormented unless you're talking about yourself. How many of you here have ever recalled saying, oh my gosh, I wish I knew now what I knew back then? Right? A lot of us do that. Or I wish this would have turned out a different way. If somebody had only guided me, I could have done a lot better. A lot of us torment ourselves, and there's really no need to do that. Unless you are on a path to discovering something new, a new element, a new way to do something. For the most part, we live and operate in worlds where somebody has already done it. So why not get a mentor? So that's what I mean by tormented to mentored. My name is Peter Salazar. I am a distinguished Toastmaster, and I have been in Toastmasters for over 12 years now. Along the lines, I have been gratefully challenged by a lot of things that have helped me overcome a debilitating fear of speaking in public, an outdated leadership style, and it's all because of the mentors that helped me and surrounded me my entire career in Toastmasters. Today, we're going to talk about four quick items. What is a mentor? Why should you have a mentor? And for some of you, why should you be a mentor? We're going to look at what you should look for in a mentor. And then we're even going to challenge you to say, when should I stop having a mentor? And before you say never, which is true, we'll get to that part at the very end and talk more about it. So, what is a mentor? Before we get there, I want to share a story with you. When I first joined Toastmasters, I was having a lot of personal speaking issues, but I jumped right in and I tried different things. And I started giving speeches about a month or two after joining. And in the old system, there was a requirement that you have to mentor somebody through their first three speeches, and then that person would sign off on your manual, and you get credit for that. So I believe after my third speech, I was feeling a little better, and somebody comes up to me, and I don't remember his name. Somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, great speech. Do you have any questions?" I'm like, "Just feeling good." And I said, "No, I don't." He's like, "Okay, cool. Sign right here." And I was like, "What's this?" He's like, "Well, I've been your mentor for the past couple months, and you've given three speeches, so I'm done." And I said, "Okay." I had no idea what was going on, so I just signed it, and we both went on our way. My point is, that is not what mentorship is about. If you are here to mentor somebody to get credit for something, let's hope that you find somebody who doesn't really want or need a mentor, just is just doing it for the looks. Because as I thought about it now, knowing what a mentor truly is, what a mentor truly does for you, that was not a mentor. For the past 12 years, I've had good mentors who have kicked my butt when I was down, who have picked me up when I needed help, and who have challenged me in various ways, things I couldn't even see. I don't know how many of you play video games or maybe just like to look out of a window, but that's similar to what a mentor is. A mentor is somebody who has a high view of where you are and what's coming your way and what potential challenges you may have. They can help you decide, should you go left or should you go right? They can guide you. They've usually lived through these experiences. So later on, we'll talk about what type of mentor you should choose. They're not all applicable during your current situation. So if we had to sum up a mentor in one way, it is a person who has a vested interest in you and will guide you in the right direction. They have experience because they have lived it, and it is mutually beneficial to you and to them because they get to pass on their knowledge to you. Your successes truly internally make them happy because they saw something in you and they carried you through it. Now let's talk about why should I have a mentor? And a good question I like to ask people or tell people is unless you're retiring tomorrow and you plan to do absolutely nothing except sit in front of the couch and watch TV, you might not need a mentor. Unless you're one of the top 10 most richest people in the world and you just won a Nobel Peace Prize, you might not need a mentor. For the rest of us that live in the world, we need mentors no matter what. Whether it's the first time golfing, learning a new job, joining a new club, we need mentors. So, one of the things I like to ask people is are winners ever self made? And this applies to successful people. So, I don't know if you've heard it, but I was watching an old Tupac interview, and he was saying how he was thanking all the people who had helped him get where he was. People who helped him sleep on the couch, gave him the opportunities. And then one of his songs where he's cussing and rapping and doing his thing, he keeps saying that he's a self-made millionaire. So usually what I like to reference this part here is because most people who say they're self-made are either lying, they just forgot where they came from, or they forgot. They're naive. They forgot that no matter what, everyone in life has molded us or made an impact on us in one way or another. Think about the first time you joined your Toastmasters club. I remember the first day I walked in, when I looked at the club president, she was so smooth, so polished. Everything flowed so naturally that I was like, wow, I want to be just like her. Later on, when I became club president, I discovered that there was an agenda, and the agenda really helps to guide you in what you do. Mentorship taught me that. When I volunteered to be club president, I didn't come out of it on my own. Somebody nudged me and said, "Yeah, you can do it. I'll be here for you. I'll help you. I'll walk you through this." So our winners ever self-made. My daughter and I were watching the 2021 college national championships for gymnastics. And you can Google this later on. But one of the colleges had never won this before. They were the University of Michigan. And the last girl to go up on the vault needed to get a score of 9.5 to win the national championship for her college. And when you watch this video, she gets up there, and when she dismounts, you could see it in her. She breaks down because she knows she did it. She knows inside her heart there was no way she was getting less than that score. And she breaks down, and for a minute, for a split second, they pause the camera on her. And a second later, you see the entire team rush up to her and hug her because, and she was crying, hugging her coaches, hugging her teammates. There was a number of, I believe, parents in there. And that's what I mean about nobody's self made. We've all had coaches, mentors. We've all had people, competitors, our peers who actually show us, we learn from them as we compete against them. So this was just a beautiful way of seeing how, even though, yes, she did her part, she got the highest score possible, but it was not her there by herself. She executed on what her mentors had helped her get to. Another thing that I like to refer to is those of us that are old enough or young enough to remember the first Karate Kid movie. You see the biggest mentorship line right there, where Mr. Miyagi folds up the bandana, puts it on his forehead, and on Danielson's forehead, sorry. And he says, I agree to teach you karate if you agree to learn karate. And then he makes him wash all the cars. Beautiful, beautiful example of what mentors usually start off with. And this college championship that I saw last week with my daughter was a beautiful example of how they usually end. What kind of people use mentors, you ask? It's everyone. Everyone that wants to be successful. Use mentors. You can YouTube this also. You can YouTube any of your favorite people in the world. Don't know who it is. They all talk about people in their lives that have walked them through the path to their success. There's no lack of anyone thanking anybody at a certain point in their career. They know that they've reached it, and when they look back, they remember it wasn't them. So I want you to think about the first speech you did. Some of us got people who said, "Hey, give me a call. I want to hear it." Or even more subtle, here's what you should do. Practice in front of a mirror. You guys remember that one? Now we have our phones. Or just say it out loud. If you can't speak it, say it in your mind. There's no lack of support for your first speech. Do you remember the first time you were nudged or encouraged to be a club officer? Or the most scary one, nudged or encouraged to be a competitor from your club for your area contest and you were scared? I remember my first time, they say, go talk to Mike. He's done this before. And Mike was this elder gentleman, and he had been to the club representative for years. And now it was my turn. And I said, Mike, I don't know what to do. He said, okay, Peter, here's what you have to do. Just like that. I was just as anticipated as you are to hear what he had to say. And I was expecting a lot of wisdom, a lot of stuff that was going to go over my head. And he said, all you have to do is show up and try your best. And as perplexed and as puzzled as you are right now, that's how I was. What he forgot to tell me is that everyone else from my club was there. And I did show up. I gave it my best shot. Fortunately, other people didn't show up. It was just two of us. And when it came down to it, I must have been 1 point above the other guy because I won my first area contest by showing up, by trying, and by having the support of my club in the audience. And this translates to work. When I first started out working, I had people who I didn't know were mentoring me, but they would check in on me and say, hey, how's it going? Did you think about this? Did you try that? I did this last year. Here's what happened. And that was early on in my career. Most recently, I was at the peak of my career. I was the top officer in my company. And I still had mentors who would come and help me review things before I had to share them with the company because I didn't want to be the one who made a mistake. And these are people who had been in my shoes before and who had known the questions that were going to come my way. Sometimes I fell. Sometimes I didn't prepare correctly. I didn't answer the questions right. And there was even this one time where I said, I had made a mistake. I wasn't prepared. It was truly my fault. And I was saying to myself, this isn't for me. I can't do it. I My mentor was in the audience. And I was talking to him about me thinking about quitting. It just, maybe it's just too much for me. I'm not meant for this. And in a stern, almost annoyed voice, he looks me right in the eye and he says, I don't know what's wrong with you right now, but you need to fix whatever's wrong with you and get over it. We all fall, but we have to get ourselves back up and just try again. Like those questions that you messed up, you need to be prepared for them every single time going forward because they're still going to be there. And if you know something's coming your way, prepare for it more. don't let it get personal. And this was me feeling low, and he was kicking me some more, but it was in a good way because he reminded me that, sometimes we do go down and sometimes we need to just continue. Life isn't over because you made a mistake. Later on today, several candidates are going to run against each other, and one of them is going to be successful. Several competitors are going to produce their best speeches in the world, and one of them is going to be very happy. The other nine are going to come this close to being the winners. And if you know some of the people in the audience, you're going to see that they've been here before. They've gotten this close, and maybe today they got this much closer, or maybe today they are the champions. But one thing that they didn't do is give up. And if you ask them how many times they practice a speech, how many mentors have helped them walk through their presentations, they're going to start to think because the list is pretty long. So if you're ever asking yourself, do I need a mentor? Am I too good for this? You're not. You do need a mentor at every step of the way. Those of you who forgot, I've been the district director for the past year, and I had a club full of mentors supporting me. Not only that, but I had past leaders, current leaders, future leaders helping me out every step of the way. If I was about to say something inappropriate, they were on my side helping make sure that I didn't. Okay, now let's talk about what you should look for in a mentor. And earlier on, you heard me reference that early in my career, I had a mentor. And early in my career, I worked in public accounting. Now, for those of you who don't know, public accounting is one extreme of my world. Shortly after that, I switched to corporate accounting. Public accounting and corporate accounting, while it has the word accounting in it, has the word finance, they're nothing the same. When I was in public accounting, I needed a mentor who knew everything about public accounting, who knew taxes, audits, stuff like that. When I transitioned to the corporate world, I needed somebody who had been successful in the corporate world, who knew how to lead, who knew how to operate in groups and answer questions that were not specifically about taxes. Because in the corporate world, for the most part, we are worried about operations and the bottom line, how to get there, margins, etc. So you see that there are two different extremes. But now I want to talk about postmasters. When you first join a club, you get a mentor, and for the most part, it could be anyone who's been in that first club experience, who can walk you through a table topic, who can walk you through an evaluation for the first time, your first speech, your first officer role. That's a type of mentor that a lot of us, if you look around the room, almost all of us can do that part. And we've all had them, right? We've all had somebody who's walked us through that part. Now I want you to think about the first time you became a club officer. That takes a different type of mentor. If you are going to be a club's, let's just say, treasurer, would you need a mentor who's never been the club treasurer, who's only been the club SAA or VPR? Probably not, right? What you would look for in a mentor as a club treasurer, somebody who's been the club treasurer, somebody who could tell you, here's how our finances work. Here's where the bank is. Here's the account number. Yes, dues are due. How many times a year? They're coming up. You should probably start collecting dues. On the opposite side, would you need if you were the club president, would you need a mentor who's never been club president? While they can help you because they've observed the club president, most likely you would want somebody who's been in those shoes. Story I like to share is I had all these mentors, but when it came to speech competitions, when it came to going outside the club, I remember I had to get a special kind of mentor, and that was somebody who had done speech competitions and won several of them. And I started asking for help outside the club, and people walked me through how to compete at the area level. And I've been mildly successful at the area level. I think I won a total of 8 area contests because I had mentors who knew how to get me to the area, who know how to get me to it. They knew what to expect. They told me about the bigger laugh in the room, right? Have you ever told the club a joke at the club and you got a ha 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 ha? Maybe one or two people laughed. And you told the same joke and you weren't confident about it. You told that at the area because you had nothing left in you. And you told the same joke and the room breaks out. Ah, ha, ha, laughter everywhere. And you're like, what happened? It's the same joke. Well, if it wasn't for my mentor, I never would have known that a joke at a club gets this much of a laughter. But a joke at an area, 10 times the amount of laughter because there's 10 times the amount of people who want to be there, who want to laugh, who want to cry, who want to be inspired. I never would have learned that without a mentor. So, no matter where you are in life, the whole point of this is that you should look for a mentor that is right for the position that you are going into. If you're going to play video games competitively, are you going to look for a mentor who's never played video games? No. If you're going to try out for baseball, are you going to look for a coach or a mentor who's never played baseball or coached baseball? Probably not. Not the smartest way to find a mentor. Maybe for inspiration and motivation, yes. But as far as teaching you the techniques, as far as being somebody who's been there and knows what you're getting yourself into, what you're going to go through, when to say no, when to say yes, when to speed up, when to slow down, you need a mentor who's going to be there, who's been there in that position and knows how to get you through it. A lot of us here, even this weekend, we're getting challenged to go into leadership roles. And they're saying, hey, that was great. Whatever you just did, I think you should try out for area director next year. And that's going to be me. It'll probably be me. But here's what you should look for. Has this person done it? Ask them questions. Peter, were you an area director? Yes, I was. Tell me about it. And most people will be honest with you. It's going to be challenging. You're going to learn a lot from clubs you visit. You're going to have headaches from one of the 5 clubs that you're managing, and the other 4 will be great, or vice versa. There's going to be times where you feel overwhelmed. Give me a call when that happens. But if you do the little things, if you just attend meetings, forward emails, talk to the clubs, listen, listen, and listen, you will be okay. There have been hundreds of Toastmasters that have been area directors before. And they were all successful because they had a division director and or other mentors who helped them along the way. So that's what you look for in a mentor. The experience, the willingness to help you out. And when you ask them a question, the honesty in their question. And they're also looking out for your future. So don't be surprised if after you were a successful area director, they're like, great job. Now try being a division director. It happens to all of us. Now I want to talk about when should you stop having a mentor? And you heard the beginning, never. You should never stop having a mentor. That's not what this question is asking. It's asking about when should you stop having a particular type of mentor. Remember in my personal career, when I went from public to corporate accounting, I had to switch the type of mentors I had. When you go from being a club officer to the club representative at the area contest, you need to switch the type of mentors you have. So here's what I'm talking about. I explained earlier, I've been mildly successful at area contests, not so much at division. I would always bomb at division contests. And I never knew why until I finally got a mentor who had been there before and said, you know, you're not doing this right at the division level. And being a Toastmaster, I welcomed the feedback and he guided me through what I need to do at division. Division is a slightly bigger stage. And he said, I needed to be bigger. I needed to own the stage like it was mine. And I was usually in my box. I wasn't using the entire stage. I wasn't looking at the entire audience. I was rushing through my jokes. He gave me a lot of feedback, which isn't the point right now. But after years of making it to the area and not being successful at the division, that 1 year that I joined a mentor, that I had a mentor, I finally broke down through, I finally exceeded the division level. And it was because of him. So that's the type of mentor change that you should have. Whenever you're doing something different, find a mentor who's been there, who's maybe been an expert in that area and can get you through it. There are a lot of challenges in life. Some of us try yoga for the first time, and boy, do we need a mentor. During COVID, a lot of us tried a lot of different things for the first time, playing cards, board games, movies online. Your backyards have probably never looked so pristine, and you went on YouTube and you found people who taught you things. The same thing applies. Get a mentor to help you be the right type at the right look, the right situation when you need it, because that's how you learn. So that's what I'm talking about. When should you stop having a mentor? Is when you switch and when you go to a new level, get a new mentor. Keep the old one if you need to, but make sure you get someone who can carry you from the club to the area, to the division, and hopefully to the district. It applies also in leadership. A lot of us get challenged to be area directors, division directors. A couple of crazy people out there say, hey, you can be a part of the trio, club growth, program quality, or district director. And I hope that they're there to mentor you through the whole process, because without them, many of us would have fell on our faces. Let's summarize what we just talked about. We talked about what a mentor is. It is somebody who is experienced in the area that you need to be mentored in, and who you may not know them in the beginning, but they truly have a vested interest in you and are truly happy for you when you succeed. And in the end, you usually end up calling them a friend. I know I did, and I miss some of my mentors very much. We talked about why you should have a mentor. Remember, unless you plan to do nothing else tomorrow, you should have a mentor in the various aspects of your life. They are needed and welcome. And then hopefully by discussing this, I hope that I encourage you to consider being a mentor for others. A lot of us don't realize it, but we've always been mentored for others. By simply standing up in front of a group, people see that you can do it and they think to themselves, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And in turn, you might hear people asking you questions. Hey, how did you do that? What do you think about this? This is a great opportunity for you to pass on some of your successes, because I'm sure you learned it from someone else. Be a mentor. We talked about what to look for a mentor, mostly from my unsuccess story of what not to look for a mentor, but look for somebody who is in the area that you want to succeed in. So if you are looking into district leadership, look for somebody who's been in district leadership. If you are looking to step outside the club, look for somebody who stepped outside the club. For competitions, look for competitors or people or serial judges. They know what to look for. The same applies for you in your personal life. You want to be married for a long time, look for a couple who's been married for a long time. You want to be successful in your industry, look inside your industry for people that are successful in your industry. When to stop having a mentor? Never. However, you can switch mentors for the situation. If you want to go from being the club SAA, then you might need to find someone who's going in the direction that you want to be in. So thank you. For those of you who want to learn more, I have I owe a lot of my successes to Toastmasters. 99.9% of my successes I owe to Toastmasters. So when people ask me for any information, I always refer them to aztoastmasters.org. They can click up here where it says find a club. Enter your zip code, and they will give you local clubs in your area. You can enter your work zip code or your home zip code, and you will find a club in your area. It has been my pleasure to share this with you. The thanks from the mentors here is a long list of people. In my heart, they know who they are. But look around the room, thank a mentor, and if you ever get a chance, be a mentor.